Good afternoon. Welcome back. Doug Pagitt Radio, broadcasting on AM 950, 106, 6 minutes after 1 on February 6th. Super Bowl Sunday. That's the last I'm going to mention about that. But I got to tell you, I'm excited about this day. We've been planning this for a long time, and I've been thinking about it for a long time. Joan Steffend is here.
Hello.
And we're thrilled about that. Joan has written a book called And She Sparkled. And I think it's great.
Thank you.
I love it. And what we try to do in this part of the program is to have a conversation with someone who is generating ideas. We've had scientists and political folks and people in the media and people who are thinking about the way that we should live as humans, and especially those who are thinking about it in terms of spirituality and religion, and trying to advance the conversation in some new ways, or to have a connection with people in some new ways, or to think some new things. Mm-hmm. And I feel like your book is a part of that.
Thank you.
And I think it's great. So people that might say, well, Joan Steffend, that's not the famous Joan Steffend, is it?
No.
It is, and in my
for paint stains, maybe that'll.
Yes, they're like, is that the design on a dime, Joan Steffend?
Decorating sense.
Decorating sense, not design on a dime. Did I get the wrong name?
All right,
That's
everybody
hilarious.
does that. Everybody.
Do they
Kristen,
really?
Kristen Cunningham.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is a guy who didn't leave the house for 166 straight hours.
Oh, and she's adorable, so of course I know her.
Joan Steffend is adorable.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we have had a
I'm playing a long game with Joan here.
We have had a Pagitt family crush on your public life. So to have you here and with this great book it's just perfect.
And you know that I met you long ago.
Yes.
At our children's elementary school.
I do.
And the fact that our conversation stuck with me all these years, and it has been at least 10
or 12 years,
15,
yes, something like that. Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah, so I knew I was going to come talk to you someday.
Isn't that funny? I mean, I have remembered. Yeah. I think that too. I think we should be up to something. I think it's a former redhead with a redhead thing.
Mm-hmm. And Shelley's coming along too.
And that's my wife has been a big fan of yours for a long time.
Yeah,
and I remember when we saw you at that book fair. Can I just reminisce about that 12 years ago?
We had a great conversation.
We did. Shelley's like, I think that's Joan Steffend over there, which is such a big deal for her.
Sounds like you guys should be having cocktails.
So we went over
Do you have one?
and then now to see where this book has come and how it is, it's just really great. So tell us a little bit about how you wrote this book.
I wrote the book not as a book. I wrote the book for myself because I was so sad. I had this great life and I was so sad and I couldn't figure it out because I was grateful for it. I knew what I had. It was what I had dreamed of what success would look like. I had this great job. I had a job that, a lot of people would really love. The pay was lovely. I had a wonderful family. I still have a wonderful family.
Yeah, right.
I have a really cute dog. I've got a car. I've got, I had everything that I thought success was defined by.
Yes.
And I just couldn't feel it. People would look, I'd go off to do the HGTV at the White House, and people would come up to me and they go, "Aren't you excited?" And outside I'd go, "Yeah, I am." Inside I'd go, "Not so much." Mm-hmm. And I couldn't figure out what that was. So I was on a plane back from vacation with my family, and I thought, if I write my autobiography, I can somehow figure out where I took the left turn where I should have taken the right turn, and I can figure this whole thing out. And I put pen to paper, a little yellow legal pad, and it was one of the best writing experiences of my life because I feel like I almost wasn't present for it. I expected to write down details of my life, and it came out as a metaphor for life, for my life. I thought it was just for my life. So I wrote about 2/3 of it on the plane. It just flowed out of me, and then it stopped. It absolutely stopped. I had no ending for the story, which obviously it meant that I had more to live.
In the book, then, and we'll tell people about it in a minute. But for us, what point did it stop when you wrote it? Like, was it at the dark point? Yeah, because we were talking about this morning, and the sidekick John said this morning, he goes, "Boy, the book takes a dark turn, doesn't it?"
Yeah,
I know it doesn't look, and it's not a dark book, but it's got the bright and the dark of life.
Yeah, and so for those who haven't seen the book, it's a coffee table. How do you describe this genre? It's a gift book.
It's a metaphorical autobiography. I'm sure there will be something like that at Barnes and Noble. There'll be a whole section for autobiographical metaphors. But it's a children's book for anybody who's ever been a child and lost the joy of it.
Yeah,
how
so
I look
it feels like a children's book because of it's got beautiful illustrations.
I love
it has
Frederick Haugen. Got to call him out.
Yeah, really great.
Yeah,
really
local guy.
Like it does a lot. You could almost look at the illustrations and see what's going on in it. It's just terrific.
I love it. Plus, it's a combination book and travel pillow.
Yes, it is thick. It
it's
does
thick
have that.
and squishy.
And you know, the poetry of it is really just above what you would expect in a children's book, to where it's not like, oh, I'm reading something that is boring as an adult.
Yeah.
You know, the way the poetry is quite compelling.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And people have been responding to it, whether they're... I was just told last weekend that Susie Orman's mother has it read to her every day, which I thought that's amazing. I've also had young people read it and get it.
Yeah.
11-year-old, got it, cried reading it. So you think, like, what have you lost? You're only 11.
Yeah. But they know the story of someone feeling like that which was and could be somehow got diminished or lost.
Yeah. Well, not lost, I guess, because it's always there. It just gets covered up by all the stories.
They couldn't find it, yes.
Yeah, the stories are kind of wraps around you as you grow up. It's like, this is something you can't do. This is something you shouldn't do. I don't think you're capable of that. You need to do this before you do something you really love. You need to put your passion away until maybe you're retired. Those kinds of stories that start to encase you, and then all of a sudden... one day you start to chip your way out of that little encasement, if you're lucky.
So I want to talk a little bit about the book in the second segment. Talk about what that's led for you and what you're up to and what's going on, because I think it's really great stuff.
Great.
When did you decide, hey, this metaphor that's come out of me or come to me, maybe is a better way to say it, that will be the book as opposed to that guiding? Like, how did you say? Because even writing an autobiography that's like in the format of a child's book, but for adults, that in and of itself is a daring move.
Right, and that I have to give credit to Tristan Publishing, another local company that just looked at it and went, "Yep, we see this, we understand this."
Great.
So that I am very grateful for. But it never was a book in my mind until I started sharing the story with a few other people. I shared it with my sister, who was in end-stage cancer at the time, and she looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "Thank you for writing my story. You wrote my story." And I was like, "No, I didn't write yours. It's my story." And then I shared it with a few friends, and I had the same reaction coming back to me. And then I read it out loud about 2 years ago right now. For the first time, I read it at a Valentine's Day celebration. And my favorite quote of all, a woman came up to me afterwards, and she looked at me, again with tears in her eyes, and she said, "I had tears in my bra." And then I started to think, well, maybe there's more. Maybe there is something out there that will resonate with more than just me and my friends. And my husband actually connected me with Tristan in kind of an accidental, serendipitous, no real coincidence kind of a way. And I sent them this in an email with just an attachment to it, and so there was no following the rules of how to get published or anything like that.
Well, and now it's a beautiful book, and the Tristan Publishers gave us some copies to give away to people, which I think is great. So we're going to give it to whoever calls first. I guess this whole competition thing feels weird about this, but if you call over to 952-946-6205 and tell Ian that you would like this book, he's going to give it to you. We're going to give it to you, and you can come and get it. And if two people call, the first two people that call get it. I don't know how to do it. Doesn't it feel funny? Do you ever do book gives away? Hey, caller 3, you say first one, nope, you didn't win.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't feel like a giveaway.
So if you feel like you didn't win, don't call. But if you feel like a winner, just give us a call.
Yeah, right. If you feel like you're a winner,
get on the wall, people.
So stay on that wall.
Yeah,
and give us a call. That's a little metaphor from last week's from last week's show.
Cool.
Yeah,
you guys are
we
really
like
bright.
that. We like that kind of thing.
In the book, I want to ask you what tickled you.
Yeah, so I want to ask you about that too. So in the book, there's the story of a girl, and the girl sparkled and then lost the sparkle. I'm making this horrible.
Nope.
But then something tickled her. Something shined through. Something happened. In your story, how did that? What tickled you? What happened? What struck you and said, "I'm going to chip out"?
Yeah, you know what? I think it was. It was something that happened over the course of time. But if I was going to point to one particular incident, it would be me being in such pain that I knew I had to change. And then there was a book that I would say almost fell off a shelf for me. It was called God Calling. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. It's a book that's been out since the 1940s. And it presented to me this idea that I was a perfect illustration of God, I guess, and that I could have my own relationship with him as opposed to living under the real direct rule of rules.
Yes.
I got to be me within that relationship, and I got to have the relationship that served me and served God. So I would say that book, plus I took Myers-Briggs test, and to me that was brilliant. Yeah. And I encourage anybody who wants.
So let's geek out for a second. The Myers-Briggs. What are you?
I am an ENFP, screaming.
You're
ENFP.
an ENFP.
So I am extroverted. I'm intuitive. I'm feeling. I'm perceiving, and I'm that to the almost to the edge of what they can.
Yes, you're all
quantify.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm what they said was the least valuable personality type in corporate America. So
yes,
because I like to think outside the box and to be inspired and to inspire others and to be excited about life, and they kind of don't. They said they didn't really want that in corporate America.
Yeah, return on investment is not a big part of your vocabulary.
No.
Well, this is Joan Steffend, and we're going to be back here and we're going to talk about what she's up to now, what this this sparkling has brought to, which I think is going to be a terrific part of the conversation. You can buy the book all over the place. I'm sure you can buy it at all the Barnes and Nobles. You can buy it online. You can buy it all those places. When you go on Barnes and Noble to buy it, you might as well order 5 of them because you're going to read it and then you're going to want to give them away.
Thank you.
So save on the shipping and make the bulk order while you can. So this is Joan Steffend. We're going to be back here, and if you have a question or a comment for Joan, give a call, especially if you've read the book. We'd love to hear from you if you've already read the book. 952-946-6205.